Hello everyone, today I'm here to do another Mashup review. So if you're unfamiliar with Mashup reviews on my channel, it is where I take my 3 most recently read books that are kind of within the similar genre. Sometimes they are literally my 3 most recent reads, but I try to keep it as similar genres as much as possible. I just tell you guys what the book is about, what I thought about it, and what I rated it, and I keep it all spoiler free. So today is kind of like an adult contemporary chick lit because it's summertime, and that's really honestly the bulk of what I read is YA contemporary and adult contemporary, so expect more. The books I'll be talking about today are The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang, How to Walk Away by Catherine Center, and My Oxford Year by Julie Whelan. So as always, I will leave timestamps down below in the info box if you want to hear my thoughts on one particular book, or if you want to hear all 3, just keep going. The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I read this in the very beginning of the month and I'm still thinking about it a ton. This is an adult chick lit book, and when I say adult, I mean like steamy times of head. There are a lot of sexual scenes in this book, so just so you're fully warned about that in case you're younger and things like that, I want to just preface you by telling you that this isn't a very adult themed book. This is all about a girl named Stella who has Asperger's, and she is very, very smart. She's doing well in her career. She's, you know, has a good family life, but she also is she's lacking kind of romance. Her mom's always pushing her to find a guy to be with, and she wants that too, but she wants to she doesn't know a lot about sexual things. So she decides to hire a male escort by the name of Michael Fahn to teach her those exact things so she can kind of prep for a relationship, so she can learn all the things she needs to learn about the body and things like that, so she can use it and forth with her future relationships in the future. And of course, you can probably already guess what happens from there because, you know, I think with most contemporaries and adult chick lit books, you can just see like how the ending's gonna flesh out. But it's a fun ride getting there, let me tell you. This book I loved so much. It was very swoon-worthy. It was very steamy, like as I keep saying, but I love the fact that Stella had Asperger's because that's a topic very near and dear to my heart because I have a son with autism. So, you know, with the way Stella would approach situations and the way she would talk and analyze things, I could see my son very much in that. Even though he's so young, I could see him being like that when he's older. And I thought it was just amazing to read about because we don't have enough books, I think, with, you know, the autism spectrum, the Asperger spectrum. You know, there's such a wide spectrum, honestly. And I would love to see more of them. So I love the fact that she had Asperger's and how, you know, she was still such an amazing character. And that did not define her or who she was. So I love that for that. The romance, of course, was amazing. So swoon-worthy, so steamy. This is literally the perfect book to take with you to the beach, the lake, the pool, wherever you're going this summer, because you can read this book like in a day, because once you start it, you're not going to want to stop until you finish it. Trust you me. It is just so cute, so adorable. I already want to reread it like 5 times over. So overall, I gave this book like a 4.5 out of 5. Loved it. Definitely a perfect summer read. One of my favorite chick lit steamy books by far. Loved every second of it. Highly recommend. I'll start talking about it because I feel like I just will keep gushing about it. We have How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. This is an adult chick lit contemporary book as well. In this book, we follow a girl named Margaret who has everything in her life going well for her. She just got out of college. She just got out of college and was offered a really good job. That's also dating this amazing guy named Chip, and she thinks he might propose, and he's just gonna get out of college and has the job. And basically, on one of the happiest days of her life, something really tragic happens to Margaret, and her life literally changes in a blink of an eye. And basically this book follows the after events of what happened, and I don't know if I want to like super spoil this because what happens to Margaret in the book happens very early on and definitely plays a huge role throughout the whole book, but the book jacket doesn't tell anything about it, so I feel like I can't say it. But let's just say an injury happens to Margaret, and it's very, I wouldn't say life-threatening, but it's life, you know, it alters the course of her entire life, quite honestly. And it's basically the whole title of How to Walk Away really sets the tone for this book, is about Margaret learning how to walk away from the toxicity in her life and the relationships and the toxicity within the relationships, you know, whether it be her boyfriend, whether it be her parents. There is just so many toxic things in Margaret's life, and it's about her starting fresh and learning to stand up for herself and be strong and just learning how her life's going to be different and maybe even for the better. Overall, I did really enjoy this book. Fast read. I read this in a couple days, but it wasn't like amazing. Like, it's not gonna stick with me, even though it had such a great message by the end and had such a good like kind of coming of age story and learning about yourself and your life. It's not one that I don't think I'm gonna think a ton about in the future. And that's not like saying anything bad about it. It just is not sticking with me. But overall, for a rating, I would give this like a 3.5 out of 5. I did enjoy it. There were a lot of times in this book I was so upset because Margaret would get in these conversations with her family or other people, and they were just treating her so bad and deciding her life for herself. And I was like, you need to stand up for yourself, you need to speak, and you know, eventually stuff like that happened. But I was just so upset. I was like, this is the worst. Why are these people in your life? But the romance in it was adorable. I love the message that it sent overall at the end. I thought it was going to take one turn and it didn't, and I'm very glad it didn't do that. But I'd say if you're just looking for a quick, fun kind of, you know, your life's changed like drastically, what are you gonna do? And it's like kind of life altering, what are you gonna do? This is a good book for that. Like I said, it's not one of my favorite like chick lit contemporary books of all time, but I still really enjoyed it and the message that it was. So I would recommend it. Again, I think it's a perfect book for beach, summer, whatever. It's summertime, so any really adult contemporary book I think you could just take with you on the beach, just literally fly through it. The last book I want to talk about is my most recent read. I literally, as of filming, just finished this like last night, and that is My Oxford Year by Julia Whelan. I have heard a little bit about this book. I've heard a lot of people compare it to Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, which is a book you've probably heard of because everyone either really loves that book or they really hate that book. I really enjoyed Me Before You, but I can see the problematic themes that it did have. There's a lot of people that say this is a rip-off of Me Before You, or it's just identical to Me Before You, and I would have to disagree with both of those things. I do not think it's a rip-off of Me Before You, nor do I think it's super identical to Me Before You by any means. Like, I don't know how people, like, I could see how it's similar to the Me Before You, like vaguely, but like the plot does not anywhere near match up what's happening in this book. So this book is about Ella, and Ella is from Ohio, and she gets the Rhodes Scholarship to go to Oxford University. So it's all about her Oxford year. So she goes there, and she immediately, when she gets there, she gets a call from Washington DC to be a part of this campaign for someone that's running for president, and so she decides to work from Oxford while, you know, studying and things like that. And then she meets a guy, and of course things happen there, but what she doesn't know is that the guy that she, you know, kind of starts a friends with benefits relationship, which we all can guess from there, is hiding something a lot bigger than what she thinks. And that's the whole gist of this book. So when you read the back of it, it sounds all lighthearted and cute and Oxford and oh yes, but when you get to the middle of it, you're like, whoa, this is getting serious really fast and kind of heartbreaking. This book did not make me cry because I think, you know, you can see where it's going, like I said, halfway through, but I like the ending, how it was kind of open-ended and you can just take your guesses of what happens. It wasn't like a super hopeful ending, but it kind of was, but it wasn't a super heartbreaking ending. Like, you can just guess on your own accord of what's going to happen on this journey. I feel like I'm like talking in riddles because I can't tell you exactly what happens in the book, but overall I did really enjoy it. I loved visiting Oxford and just seeing everything there and the spires and learning all about like these great like poets and like Tennyson and all this stuff. I did feel kind of stupid when reading this because they would talk in such grand language sometimes, use very old poems to convey what they thought, or very old British language, and I was like, oh, I love this, but I feel so kind of stupid reading it. But I loved the scenes. I loved they visit all these pubs and like fish and chip places. Gosh, this made me want fish and chips so bad. But, and the romance I thought was great. I don't think it's exactly like Me Before You. Me Before You is about two people falling in love, and you kind of already know how that's gonna end, and you already know like from the very get-go of how heartbreaking that is. This one kind of is different in that it's like two people fall in love and they have this thing happen to one of them, and it's deciding, you know, do we want to make the best of this? Do we want to make the worst of this? Do we want to be together? And things like that. So, I mean, I could see how it is kind of reminiscent of Me Before You. If you hated Me Before You, I would still think you enjoyed this. If you liked Me Before You, I still think you would enjoy this. I did overall really like it, honestly. And I know that's maybe the unpopular opinion, but I thought it was a cute, adorable read. Like I said, I liked the ending and how, you know, hopeful yet open-ended it was. Overall, I would give this book like a 3.75 out of 5. I did really enjoy it. Again, a perfect summer read because, you know, but I will say this took place mostly like in the fall and going into winter and then maybe kind of ending in the spring. So maybe the perfect time to read this is the beginning of fall, like because you're visiting Oxford at the beginning of fall. It was very, very beautiful for that, but I really liked it. I know that may be controversial to say. I don't know. Those are my thoughts and opinions on these 3 books. I'd say hands down my favorite was definitely the Kiss Quotient, and I really did enjoy my Oxford year. And I know I was not like, I didn't love How to Walk Away. I did enjoy it, just not as much as I wanted to enjoy it, sadly. But either way, I would recommend any of these, especially if you're an adult like contemporary chick lit lover, or if you just want something light and kind of fluffy just to read in a day or two to take your mind off things. I think any one of these would be great for that. If you have read any of these, please let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Did we agree on our ratings? Did we not? I would love to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.